LeBron hit a major milestone in his career this past weekend, and the fans gave him a nice ovation, even though the game was in Washington. And that was passing Karl Malone to become second all-time in total points in the NBA regular season history. And he's, right there at the top of the league in scoring, averaging about 30 points, almost 30 points a game. He's in a battle for that. Joel Embiid at 29.8, LeBron and Giannis all at 29.8, Rob. So LeBron battling for the scoring title would be the second of his career. But they may not even make the play-in. Forget the playoffs. They may not make the play-in. And I want to ask you, Rob, LeBron James, whether he wins the scoring title or not, he's putting up great individual numbers. Do you think this season either positively or negatively impacts his legacy?
It's not going to change his legacy. I think that's – he is what he is. He's played a long time. He's put up enough numbers. So no one's going to say, oh, LeBron slipped year 19, so he's a different player. No. I'm just saying when I look at this season, it doesn't move me because there's no winning. It's like embarrassing. Every night it's like something else. LeBron's on a team with some pretty damn good players, and they can't figure it out. And I get Anthony Davis. People have had injuries. The Nets are playing without two of their players, and they can't play with Kyrie at home, and not Harden. God, I just had a who's been hurt all. Say it.
Ben Simmons?
No, Durant. Durant, Chris, was hurt for what, 25 games or whatever,
yep.
and they didn't fall into the ocean. They struggled, but they're still
falling though.
No, I know, but they didn't fall out of it. And I'm talking about like the Lakers. LeBron's been playing. It's not like you lost LeBron. He's been playing for a long stretch and putting up very, very good numbers, tremendous numbers, and none of it seems to matter. Even against some bad teams. What happened in Washington the other night? They just got what was that?
I mean, they've been losing to bad teams all year. It's unbelievable. Yeah,
Chris, don't you find that to be somewhat on a night where they had a big lead against Washington, and LeBron's on the team and Carmelo and some of the other guys. I'm not saying that they're all spring chickens in their primes, but my God, I mean, Kuzma didn't play in that game. It wasn't like Washington was like the last couple of bad losses, Chris, they had. It's like all those teams. I think Washington had lost 6 in a row or something, right? Before they beat the
Lakers. They're not
Lakers.
losing the good teams. I mean,
that's the part that I can't understand.
Yeah. Well, I can understand it and what it is. And this is, Rob, for all of those who are just looking at the numbers, just looking at the box scores,
yep,
and saying LeBron is still in his prime. LeBron is still as good as he was, 7 years
Not
ago.
True.
No. LeBron James in his prime could carry 4 also-rans to the playoffs. Period. He would have been able to carry this team to the playoffs in his
question,
prime.
Chris. Without question. And that's what I don't see.
Right. Yeah, and look, and everybody knows it, Rob. I got Jordan over LeBron for the GOAT. But one thing I'll give LeBron is that I think more than any player I've seen, maybe you could argue Magic. We didn't see Magic a lot in this position. But LeBron can take less, like anybody, and make them competitive. Once he got rolling, he didn't make the playoffs till his 3rd year. But once he got rolling in his career, he could make anybody pretty good. And anybody, like almost darn near a contender. Now, he had more trouble than Jordan getting them over the top and closing the deal and winning championships. But as far as carrying the team to being competitive, he didn't need a ton of talent around him. But this shows you, this is proof positive that despite the 30 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists a game, LeBron's not the same. And there's two things I see that are glaring. Because even field goal percentage is phenomenal. Shooting 52% from the floor. So you're like, wow, why isn't he able to help carry a team to win? One, obviously, if you look at LeBron's career, Rob, he was ball dominant. He controlled, which allowed him to control the tempo.
Right.
And control the game. And during his prime, he could be ball dominant for 40 minutes a night for 80 games a year and playoffs and finals. Can't do that now. So I've always said I'd like to see him more off the ball and not as ball dominant. But and this year he's not ball dominant. And he's not able to impact the game as much. You say, well, why don't the Lakers put the ball in his hands more? He can't do it for 35 minutes a night anymore. The wear and tear, the fatigue, he can't do that. And so that's one reason. And secondly, Rob, he can't impact the game defensively. It's interesting, Rob, because when you look at most of I'm talking about the elite of the elite. Jordan. I mean, I guess somebody could try to argue a Magic Bird don't fit this mold, but they used to get a lot of steals.
Right.
I'm thinking Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Kareem, Bill Russell, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Rob. They always could also impact the game defensively. And that was a big part of LeBron's game, particularly in Miami, but throughout his career, once he, became a superstar. And he can't do that anymore. I mean, I just saw Cleveland. I don't know who it was, Larry Markkinen or somebody just went right up over LeBron and laid it in. Kristaps Porzingis dunked on him the other night. Now he is 7'3", but still. So those are the reasons, Rob, that he can't dominate and win anymore. But to answer the question, I don't think this affects his legacy at all, as you said. Michael Jordan in Washington, we don't even think about that. It doesn't impact his legacy at all. And I actually, Rob, I've always said this about Jordan in Washington. If anything, it might have helped because he was a 39 and 40-year-old man who was a legitimate all-star. Like his last year at 40 years of age, he averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists on like 44.5% shooting. Those are like Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell type numbers when they were at their best.
Right.
I mean, that's how good he was at 40. And I think and he couldn't control winning, though. He didn't even make the playoffs. And I think LeBron's in a similar phase. He's putting up numbers even better than Jordan did. He's younger, but he's 37. But I look at it like, man, he's balling individually. Can't control the winning like he used to. But this doesn't hurt his legacy at all. But it doesn't take him to another. It doesn't help it in terms of moving, that's moving the needle in the GOAT talk.
There you go. That's the other point, Chris. And I think some of the LeBron minions are like, look at what he's doing. This is unbelievable. But if they were winning, Chris, and he was doing this, you would take a different look at it.
Right.
They're a bad basketball team, and somebody has to score. I'm not seriously.
Well, and that's always what they say in the NBA is you got to look at guys that put up big numbers on bad teams because, as you said, somebody's got to score.
Somebody's got to put up it's a basketball game. What, are they going to lose 89-5, Chris? You know what I mean? Somebody's got to score. So LeBron is scoring, but they're not winning. I just didn't expect it to be this bad. I told you I didn't. We both said it. I'm not going to say I told you. We both said it.
Right.
We didn't like the makeup.
I don't think anybody expected this bad.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I can't even raise my hand and say I thought it would be like this.
I think what LeBron, to put it in perspective, again, we're talking about the elites of the elites. The elites of the elite, they not only put up numbers, but they win. They may not win a championship, but they win. The team's a playoff team virtually every year. Every now and then they get to the third round, the conference finals, second round, relatively regularly and stuff like that. But then you do have, Rob, you got stars that are legitimate all-stars, but don't really impact winning. This year, Trae Young, and I know Trae went berserk in the playoffs last year.
And everybody was already ready to
Ready to
stamp
crown
his
him.
card, crown
Right.
him.
This year, numbers are great. They're in 10th spot, in the 10th spot in the East. All right, they're in the playoffs. Trey's averaging 28 points, 9.5 dimes, but it's not impacting winning. And so that's kind of the level. I mean, he's better than Trae Young at this point. But, early in LeBron's career, first 2 years, it was similar. Young guy putting up great numbers, but really wasn't controlling the winning. And, that's kind of what you go back to. Jordan went back to that. And LeBron's going back to that at this stage of his career.